220 books this year. It is taking me a little while, and I'm trying to break it down into sort of bite-sized, manageable pieces, but that is proving more difficult than I thought. So basically, bear with me. I will release that video as soon as it's ready. I'll also thinking of doing a video about the non-fiction books specifically that I've read this year, my favorites, least favorites, and obviously the December reading wrap up. There's a lot going on, guys. There's a lot going on today. Also, I have been quite sick, so if you think my voice sounds a little bit weird, you are probably right. I have had like the flu or something the past week, and I'm still getting over it. I'm still a little bit congested, so bear with me. And today I am coming at you from my hallway floor once again because I wanted to have a little chat about the 4 books that I DNFed this year. DNFed this year. For those who are not up with the lingo, DNF is a did not finish. So I did not finish 4 books this year. 4 books, 4 books, 4 books. These are a bit random, to be honest, and maybe that's why I DNF'd them. Maybe it all makes sense. Most of them, actually no, one of them, 2 of them I read because I wanted to, and 2 of them are from the International Booker long list, which I challenged myself this year to read in full. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first book that I DNF'd this year is called Taboo, and it is by Kim Scott. I'll read you the Goodreads blurb. From Kim Scott is an Australian author, by the way. From the 2-time winner of the Miles Franklin Award, Kim Scott comes a work charged with ambition and poetry, in equal parts brutal, mysterious, and idealistic, about a young woman cast into a drama that has been playing for over 200 years. Taboo takes place in the present day in a rural southwest of Australia and tells the story of a group of Noongar people who revisit for the first time in many decades a taboo place, the site of a massacre that followed the assassination by these Noongar descendants of a white man who had stolen a black woman. They come at the invitation of Dan Horton, an elderly owner of the farm on which the massacres unfolded. He hopes that by hosting the group, he will satisfy his wife's dying wishes and cleanse some moral strain from the ground on which he and his father have lived for generations. But the sins of the past will not be so easily expunged. We walk with the ragtag group through this taboo country and note them in glimmers of reconnection with the language, law, and country. We learn alongside them how countless generations of Noongar may have lived in ideal rapport with the land. This is a quite enticing. It is a fiction book, but a lot of it sort of takes from real events that did happen. I was so close to finish this one as well. I DNF'd it at around about 70%, and I was listening to this book on audio. I really tried to get into it, but I found listening on audio was really difficult. There were so many characters being introduced, and the setting jumped around quite a lot, and it was quite difficult to sort of follow along and sort of understand the characters, the setting, and what was going on. It was really beautifully written, but I think the overly descriptive nature of this book contributed to my confusion, because it was quite wordy and verbose, and because I'm trying to focus on what it's actually trying to say, I'm then struggling. I might finish it, but where I ended in the book, I felt like I didn't really need to read on and that I had gotten the point, so I DNF'd it. It has mid ratings on Goodreads. It's got a 3.63, which is like an average book. I did try. I just felt like it was a little bit too confusing, and I also wasn't enjoying it enough to source it on Kindle or get a physical copy of the book. If I had been enjoying it more, then potentially I would have, but I was at peace leaving it at 70%. I should also say, I should have said this in the beginning, but I'll say it now. Life is too short to read a book that you're not enjoying. We are massively pro DNFing here. If you're not enjoying a book, put it down. There's no point reading a book that you're not enjoying, because at the end of the day, unless it's like a non-fiction book, you're reading for fun, you're reading to enjoy yourself. You're not reading because it's a chore. So put the book down. You can pick it up at another time. Just put it down. That's my thoughts on DNFing. The next book that I DNF'd this year is the first one I DNF'd from the International Book Long List, and that is Eurotrash by Christian. Is it Cratch? I'm not too sure. So I had a physical copy of this book. Far out. It was very dense, so hard to get through. It had a 3.57 on Goodreads. I DNF'd it. I only got 30 pages in and I gave it a 1 star. And I had a bunch of friends that tried to read this one as well, and for the most part they also DNF'd it. It was boring. Nothing was sparking my interest to keep reading, and this book is originally written in German, translated into English, but there are so many German references that I just did not understand, and I had to stop every 5 seconds, Google it, and then go back to the book, and it completely interrupted the flow. So I DNF'd it. I have no regrets DNFing this one. Like, no book should be so tedious that you have to keep picking up. Obviously, like, this book was written in German, so it's not really meant for English audiences. It was only translated into English because it was a International Booker Prize nominee this year. I think if I was German, I probably would have loved it, but because I wasn't understanding anything that was happening, yeah, I just had to put it down. It was us a 3.57, again average. The blurb, I'll read it. It says, realizing he and she are the very worst kind of people, a middle-aged man embarks on the dubious road trip through Switzerland with his 80-year-old mother, recently discharged from a mental institution. Traversing the country in a hired cab, they attempt to give away the wealth she has amassed from investing in the arms industry. But a fortune of such immensity and unsurprisingly hard to squander. Haunted in different ways by the figure of her father, an ardent supporter of Nazism, mother and son can no longer avoid delving into the darkest truths about their pasts. Eurotrash is a bitterly funny, vertiginous mirror cabinet of familial and historical reckoning. The pair's tragicomic quest is punctuated by the tenderness and spite meted out between two people who cannot escape one another. Intensely personal and unsparingly critical, Eurotrash is a disorientingly brilliant novel by a writer at the pinnacle of his powers. Yes, I should mention as well, this is actually a prequel, so this is the second book in this series, but the first book was never translated into English, so again, that was a very interesting choice, because even if I wanted to sort of get caught up on the lore of this family, I can't, because I can't read the first book. Interesting. Yeah, so that was just 30 pages in. I was like, nah, I'm not interested in continuing to read this. My screen is so gross. Sorry. The next book that I DNFed also was reading for the International Booker longlist, and that is On a Woman's Madness by Astrid Roma. This has a 3.22 stars on Goodreads, and I will read the blurby thing here. Grope. She's crazy. Sorry. I'm just letting her walk away. Okay. Roma makes her English language debut with this classic of queer black literature. As Roma pushes at the boundaries of the senses, she melds biting post-colonial social commentary with a lush dreamscape. On a Woman's Madness tells the story of Noenka, a courageous black woman trying to live a life of her own choosing. When her abusive husband of just 9 days refuses her request for a divorce, Noenka flees her hometown in Suriname on South America's tropical northeast coast for the capital city of Paramimbo. I'm not sure. Unsettled and unsupported, her life in this new place is illuminated by romance and new freedoms, but also forever haunted by her past and society's expectations. Strikingly translated by Lucy Scott, Astrid Roma's classic queer novel is a tentpole of European and post-colonial literature. Ducky away. And amid tales of plantation-dwelling snakes, rare orchids, and star-crossed lovers, it is also a blistering meditation on the cruelties we inflict on those who disobey. Roma, the first Surinamese writer of the prestigious Dutch Literature Prize, carves out post-colonial Suriname so we are on a time crunch. So I DNF'd this book at 45 pages in, which is around 18%. I was reading it on my Kindle. I DNF'd it with two stars. I was really just not being interested in this book. I sort of got enough in that I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not interested. I got up to a part where the main character is trying to justify her existence, and her mum was sort of acting like she was this awful, ungodly person, and at the time I was just like, I'm really not interested in sort of reading about someone trying to plead their case as to why they should be treated like a human being. So yeah, I was just not interested. I'm really I think I've mentioned in other videos before that I am a staunch atheist, so this whole trying to justify who you are, you existing, but people around you telling you that this mythical man in the sky hates you and is going to send you to hell. No. And so I DNF'd it. I was just not interested. That is all I have to say on that one. And now this last book that I've DNF'd this year is quite controversial. I talked about it in my last November reading wrap-up video, and that is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, one of the most famous Spanish literature books of all time. It has a 4.12 on Goodreads. That's very high. Probably Garcia Marquez's finest and most famous work, 100 Years of Solitude, tells the story of the rise and fall, birth and death of a mythical town of Macondo through the history of the Buendia family. Inventive, amusing, magnetic, sad, alive, and unforgettable men and women, and with the truth and understanding that strike the soul. 100 Years of Solitude is a masterpiece of the art of fiction. Now, I am not about to deny that, because this is it is over 400 pages long, and I DNF'd it on page 90. I was reading it and it was just all going over my head, straight through my ears. Nothing was sticking. I was so confused at who all the characters were. I was not interested. It was like an actual bore to pick up the book. 90 pages in, I think it was less than 20%, and I felt like I just did not retain any of the information. So I decided to put this one down. For now, I think I would like to pick it back up in the future, but at the moment, it's a no from me. I just really couldn't get myself into the mindset of being interested. And I'm not gonna lie, this book sort of single-handedly sent me on my trajectory of being in a reading slump. So, yes. Again, I do want to read this book eventually, but I think just right now, it's a no from me. I do have a physical copy of it, so I will be able to just pick it back up. I won't donate my copy or anything like that, which I normally do to books that I haven't enjoyed. And that is the four books that I did not finish this year, that I intentionally put down and decided that I was not going to finish. Let me know down below in the comments if there's been any books that you have DNF'd this year and why. I would be very interested especially your thoughts on like the book, where you got up to and why you DNF'd it. I always find it so fascinating. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. I have a lot of reading wrap-up videos coming for the year and for December. My favourites, my least favourites, all will be uploaded as soon as they're ready, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you guys in